Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. Wait, no, it's like the 21st. All right. I'm trying to pep myself up because I think I had a piece of toast today and a glass of orange juice so far. And I was going to have a salad when I got home, but I was like bullshitting and sitting in my car before I drove home. Then I got home and sat upstairs and talked for a second. Then I looked at the time. I was like, shit, I got to run. And then I had to go change clothes. And I was like, no, I'm 3 minutes late. So anyhow, pause, break, pause, break.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? This is Dante with another episode of Off the Mats podcast. And my guest this week for episode 49. So I said it, so we have to now make it episode 49 unless I edit it out later, whatever. But my guest for this episode is going to be Miss Teanna Taylor, a returning guest. So welcome, Miss Teanna. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me back.
Well, thank you for coming back and doing this again. Even though we talk pretty regularly, it still feels like, it's still a treat. It's still special to have you on as a guest and share your insight on things. So we definitely appreciate having you on as a guest. How have things been going with you lately?
Well, I'm 5 weeks post-surgery. I had, as you know, last year I had a full ACL reconstruction because I fully ruptured my ACL. I had meniscus damage, because lockdown hit Spain straight afterwards. I couldn't get physio or rehab, so I developed fibrosis, which is the buildup of scar tissue in my knee, which made it very, very stiff. But I was still training BJJ. I got back to it pretty quickly. But then I got another partial rupture for my ACL, and more meniscus damage. So I've just had my meniscus repaired. I've had the scar tissue removed. And I've had something called a Lemaire procedure, which is strengthening of the ACL. So because it was a partial rupture the second time round, and not a full rupture, I didn't need a reconstruction. I just needed it strengthening because the MRI showed the fibers of the original reconstruction were coming away. So I've just been dealing with that, really.
Okay.
It's been a bit crap, but these things happen. 2 major surgeries in 13 months. Not cool, but it's jiu-jitsu. It's not Zumba. So you are going to get injured.
Bet there's some Zumba listeners right now. It's like, what are you talking about? We get hurt. We get injuries. Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah, you walk into the person next to you. It's not quite the same. Sorry.
I'm not sure what they do for Zumba. There used to be on the Nintendo Wii a Zumba game. Remember, you had like a little holster you put on, and you put the controller in the holster. And then you Zumba. I still don't know Zumba. I think I bought the game. I'm almost certain I bought the game, but it was never used.
I would love to see you using that. That would be quite funny.
That's not going to happen. I have tons of karaoke games. That's something that I'll probably end up doing one day, but the Zumba, that's just not going to happen. Because I don't even... I'm not sure what Zumba is still. I'm just trying to think, like, what is Zumba? I could Google it. I'm sure it'll get weird.
Yeah, it's like dancing, kind of fitness stuff. I prefer martial arts personally, but...
Yeah, same. Although there used to be a ballroom dancing studio next to where my gym moved from. And I considered signing up. My uncle, he teaches ballroom dancing. My uncle used to be a stripper. So that's always like, whenever I see him putting up, videos of him going to competitions and stuff, I always remember in the back of my mind, it's like, dude, you used to like be a stripper. You used to go up to Canada and shake your ass. Weird. Um, but you know that's not to say that people are married to their past. People,
Yeah, yeah.
they evolve and do different things. But he's an excellent dancer. That's not something that's in the genetics that didn't
Yeah.
pass over to me. But I considered doing ballroom dancing at one point because you know, just like jujitsu, so like I want to learn something. I want to go and learn
Yeah.
something new. But and then a friend suggested salsa,
Hmm.
and I was like maybe, but I think with dancing, I fall on my face a lot during jujitsu, so I know if I'm dancing, without fail, I'm going to fall on my face, probably roll my ankle. There's going to be injuries involved, and at least during jiu-jitsu, getting injured, it's kind of like it's earned versus dancing. That's not to take a shot at any dancers out there. I'm just saying, if I get hurt during dancing, I feel some kind of way about it versus if I get hurt during jiu-jitsu, it's like, well, it was a good fight. So
Yeah.
um but with your injuries and in the recovery, I know that's got to be difficult. I can't imagine it. Like I'm personally stubborn and just impatient, so I can only imagine, what you're going through with, wanting to get back to competing. I think I saw a post recently, probably today, kind of talking about just there's so many tournaments you want to sign up for, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I want to compete in. There's an IBJJF tournament in Zurich. There's another one in the Netherlands. I definitely want to do. I want to do the Europeans in January. Definitely want to do the Worlds, but obviously not this year. But I'm quite lucky in that the physio I see considers me as an elite athlete. Now, I don't actually agree with that. I don't think I'm an elite athlete. Let's not get that confused. But he Googled what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually is, and he put me in the category of elite athlete. So I have physio every day, which is amazing, except I had it for the first 4 days, and then he came into contact with someone with COVID, and it's been on hold since. So I'm quite nervous about developing this scar tissue again, because last year I didn't get physio at all. And although I have had some, I'm quite concerned that if I have another buildup of fibrosis, I will need a third surgery, which I really don't want. So I find out later this week if his PCR test is negative, and if everything's okay, I can restart my physio. But I'll be having it every day, which is really good. Really, really good.
That's good. With being semi-stationary or immobile, is there any concern of blood clots?
Well, actually, I had to inject my stomach for the first 3 weeks with blood thinners.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I have a B12, vitamin B12 deficiency, and I have to inject my backside once a week with very long needles. So these needles are like diabetic needles. They're tiny in comparison. So to stop blood clots forming, because that's a real risk when you have ACL surgery, I was injecting my stomach at 8 o'clock every night with these blood thinners. But I'm not doing that now because I'm getting around a bit. I'm still in a full leg brace. So if you hear a squeak at all, that's my leg brace moving. But while I've been off physio, I've just been trying to do what I can with the exercises I learned in my first week. But now I'm on week 5. I kind of feel I need to be moving ahead a bit more.
5 years ago to the day, actually, I got really sick. I ate some mango that wasn't ripe, and it created a blockage in my intestine. And what's funny is yesterday for lunch, I was going to buy some pre-cut mango, and I looked at the date and I said, no way, Jose. I'm not falling for that shit again. But I ended up. I thought it was the end for me. I was in so much pain. I thought it was a wrap.
Mm.
I kept thinking, like, and Sophie was 2 weeks. Basically, Sarah was due.
Mm.
Um, but Sophie should have, was on her way out. And I was thinking, it's like, dude, I'm going to die because of a mango. And my daughter will never get to meet me. And then she's going to find out that I died because of a mango. And she's going to be like, this bitch, he got defeated by a mango. Fuck that guy. No, but when I ended up in the hospital, they advised giving, the shot in the stomach, the blood thinners. And I was like, nah, we're good. I'm not doing that. They already put a tube in my nose, and, they're, already shooting me up with morphine and all types of goodies. Actually, a weird thing about that is my hip was hurting. So they shot me up with some Tylenol. And the Tylenol was supposed to be 6 to 8 hours. And it wore off after about 2 hours. And I buzzed the nurse. I was like, hey, can I get some more of that Tylenol? My hip hurts again. She goes, well, your schedule, every 6 to 8 hours for the Tylenol. So, and it's only been 2 hours, so we can't give you any more, but we can give you some morphine. And I was like, wow, that escalated. But like, yeah, go ahead, give me some morphine.
I've had morphine a lot. I've had it because I've had 9 operations now. Only 2 have been on my knee. The others have been for other things, but morphine's good for taking away pain. Really good.
It wasn't really doing a whole lot for my pain, but I was watching hockey and basketball while on morphine, and I could still feel the pain, but I wasn't concerned with the pain because I was fascinated by the fast-paced sports on the TV while drugged up. And I was just like, ooh, I'm not sure what they're doing right now, but it looks entertaining. But yeah, they suggested, I take the blood thinners. I declined. And they're like, well, we just recommend that you have to move around a bit. So I was in the hospital for a week, and every single day with the tube in my nose and everything, I'm walking around that hospital doing lunges. I was basically, because I was still new to jiu-jitsu. I was just about a year into it at that point. So I was doing all my movements, as far as, stand up, like lunges, sidestep, tried to do karaoke. That didn't work well with the gown. So we passed on that. But a couple of days later, I complained of some pain in my legs, and they did a ultrasound. They didn't see anything. They're like, no, there's nothing here. So they released me from the hospital, 2 days even after that. So I do a follow-up with my primary, and I love my primary because she trained jiu-jitsu. So she knew, the goofy injuries I would get.
Yeah.
Although she gave me some muscle relaxers for my bad hip, and me being me, I took one. I was driving home, and I was like 10 minutes from home. So I took one. I was like, it'll hit by the time I get home and I can lay down. There was a detour, so traffic got delayed.
Oh, no.
So while driving, everything went funny. And then suddenly I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. So once I figured out what was going on, I white knuckled it. I was squeezing that steering wheel the entire way home and driving slow. I got home, walked in the door, fell right on the floor, and just went to sleep. I was like, nope, never again. That was the last time I ever took a muscle relaxer.
Wow.
So I keep getting sidetracked. Sorry. But basically, once I went to see my primary, she sent me to get what she called a D-dimer. I don't know. She sent me to get some kind of screening. And she was like, if it comes back positive, you have to come back here immediately. So they did some blood work. I'm on my way back to work at this point, and I get the call, nope, you need to come back now. I didn't want to go to work anyway. So I turned right around. I don't think they knew I was coming in. I was just going to show up. And I turned right around and went back to the doctor. Like, you have a pulmonary embolism, which was the blood clots. They reached my lungs at that point. And they're like, you don't have a choice. You now need to take the blood thinners and give yourself a shot in the stomach every 12 hours. So I would do it at 10 in the morning and 10 at night. And one of the times Sarah did it while in labor because I couldn't poke myself. I just couldn't do it. But I had to do that from May, the beginning of May until September, and it sucked. So that's what I was thinking. It's like, man, I hope she doesn't have to do that, but there are people that got to do it all the time, like the rest of their lives. But it's like having to do it
because a pulmonary embolism is really serious. That can kill you. Yeah. So
the nurse, when I went in, I'm waiting in the one of the back rooms. He comes in like just in a panic, and he says, "You have a pulmonary embolism." And like he says, like with this like intensity, and Sarah and I were sitting there. I'm pretty calm. I was like, okay, and he was like, and the way he came in, like the way that he said it, just got me like jolted. I was like, okay. He was like, okay, now we're gonna take your blood pressure. I was like, yeah, you should have took the blood pressure first and then told me that. You did that backward. But but now it was fine. They told me I couldn't train jiu-jitsu. They told me I couldn't run. I don't listen very well, so I lightly trained, quotes. And I didn't run on a treadmill, but I did walk quite a bit. And like, ironically enough, I read something online. There was a gentleman who's training jiu-jitsu. He walked into his gym. He collapsed and died because he had pulmonary embolism. So that scared the shit out of me. So I stopped training. I was like, okay, time to take this break for real now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna probably edit most of that out because I like took a lot of time to tell that story. So yeah, you no longer have to do the blood thinners though.
No, I've stopped with that now. They leave a lot of bruises on your stomach, but it's fine. No one really sees that anyway. But it's getting really hot in Madrid now, though. So my summer wardrobe's coming out. I've got my ACL scar this time is really, really long because last year I always say it in Spanish. How do you say it in English? Arthroscopy, where it's keyhole surgery.
Yeah.
And last year it wasn't too bad, but where they came out, so they go in your knee and they come out the other end of your knee. And I developed a keloid scar, which is a raised scar. And because I'm mixed raced, my skin's darker and the scarring is therefore darker. But thankfully during this and the keloid scar looked horrible, to be honest. But during surgery this time, they actually removed the scar because it was raised. But I'm left with a really big scar on the right hand side of my knee because they've strengthened my ACL. The scarring's a lot more intense. But I'm not like ashamed. I'm not going to hide it. I'm still going to wear shorts. I'm still going to wear skirts. I just see it as my battle scars.
Yeah.
And I had surgery in 2020, last year, on my thigh. So I had a suspected muscle disorder, and I've got quite a large scar on my thigh. So if everything stays on my right leg, that's cool. My left leg is my good side now. But I've got quite a lot of scarring, but I'm not really that bothered about it. I'm not a supermodel, so whatever.
I think scars,
they tell a story.
Yeah, it has personality. It's a conversation starter. None of my scars are visible, like just with my stomach and surgeries and everything. All my scars are around my stomach and abdomen and things like that. So that I don't get to show those off too often. Um, just which no big deal. And then when they removed the lipoma, like a lot of stuff happened to me in April 5 years ago. I had a lipoma removed off like my side, and then the blockage, and then my daughter was born. Then lost my job, but bought a house while losing my job. Um, they didn't know, and then I think that was it. Like,
I think that's enough, isn't it? That's enough, really, isn't it, to go through?
Like 2016 was wild. And then Prince died, and David Bowie died, and then later that year George Michael died. Like they're like those like three of my favorite like musicians. So it was like, wow. So I got sick, and my daughter was born. So that's pretty fucking cool. We bought a house. That's pretty cool. But Prince died. That sucks. And David, I think Prince died. Although we're recording this on the 21st of April. I think Prince died the June 17th. He died within this week window. But then David Bowie, and then George Michael around Christmas time. Pretty sad time. 2016 was rough. I hope everybody else had a pretty good 2016. I mean, it was good for me. I had a daughter, but still.
Yeah. She's adorable.
But George Michael died, and it was pretty rough. Like, I would, I'm not saying that George Michael dying trumps my daughter being born, but I really like George Michael. I'm a fan. Like, I was actually sad, but anyhow, I'm gonna edit that out too. So, with your surgery, like the recovery time, when do they think you're gonna be able to start kind of getting back to some light movements?
Very soon, because actually the day before my surgery I was in the gym knocking out PBs on my lifting, because I was training jiu-jitsu 2 days before the surgery. But I was mostly drilling. I wasn't really sparring, because I knew I had a partial ACL rupture. I didn't want it to become a full rupture. So I was only drilling, but I was lifting because, you get muscle atrophy. You lose a lot of muscle with these kind of injuries. So I was deadlifting, I was benching, I was doing everything I kind of normally do. And I did it right up until the last minute. Time-wise, I'll be able to compete again for rolling full force within 9 months, which means I can do the Europeans in Lisbon in January. I don't know how I'm going to do that. That's assuming it's on. It probably will be on. I don't know how I'm going to do, because I've had so much time being injured. But I'm still going to go for it. I'm hoping to be back on the mats in June, doing just drill. I'm going to be really, really careful. I was careful last time. It was just, again, really, really bad luck. But I just see it as a test. I see it as a test of how badly do you want to do well in jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
So I think at the moment I would probably be okay using a static bike, but I want the okay from my physio. So before I do anything else, other than what I have been doing, I do want that confirmed by my physio. But I'm pretty sure he's going to say it's okay. I'm still walking on crutches. I'm still in a leg brace. I think that's going to come off within the next week or two. But I'm going to delay sparring for quite a while, simply because I just don't want any more injuries, because it really takes a toll on your mental health as well, especially when you train like I train. It's very, very difficult. very difficult. And you could be the strongest person in the world, but if you do I might just be a blue belt in inverted commas. But when you train how I train, it's more than just recreational training. I'm very, very into competition, as you know. Yes. So I do have a list of competitions I want to do, but I'm going to be very, very careful, take things slowly. I need to work on my cardio, especially. And I'm going to be doing a lot of drilling before I get back into rolling. But hard rolling, I've been told 9 months.
Okay. I mean, drilling is, key anyway.
Yeah.
I'm personally in favor of I'll spend an hour drilling. Like, personally, I'd much rather, I was saying to one of my teammates today, we both got on the mat and we're both like looking at each other. I was like, dude, I'm so tired. I was like, me too. We were about to spar. He goes, I'm going super light, which I don't know what his definition of super light is, but he went anything but. We both said to each other, like, dude, I would much rather just drill.
Yeah.
This entire, you were doing cross chokes and we're both like kind of cinching them in pretty tight. So maybe not drill cross choke for an hour, but just kind of the movements and stuff. But I'm always in favor of drilling. So, I think that'll definitely be super beneficial for you and helpful.
That's exactly what I was doing up to 2 days before the surgery, because I didn't want to risk making my injury worse by rolling hard. Sure. So I just drilled. And I think because I was still very active right up until I had the surgery, that's helping my recovery. Because the physio I see doesn't really see athletes, and there are some students doing internships there, and I called them over to come and feel my thighs, which was a little bit strange.
Hey man, don't make this weird for me. You don't make this weird for me.
So they were like, come and feel her thighs. And the thing is, I'm not in my fighting weight at the moment, so when I'm really in shape, my thighs are like steel. So they were like, wow. It was a little bit strange, but I didn't mind, because they're university students. They need to see a range of bodies, a range of people to support their learning. So I'm all for medical students being in my appointments. The only thing is, the difference between Spain and the UK, I don't know about the States, but they'll normally in the UK, I've had this many times for various things. They'll say to me, oh, Teanna, I've got a medical student in. Do you mind if they stay? And normally I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I had a pap smear here in Spain. And bear in mind, I'm a university professor. I really didn't want 6 students looking down my cervix. So my first question was, what university are you from? Because I don't want to go to work on Monday and find out that you've all looked at my cervix, because I was teaching English for medicine and anatomy. So I was like, where's my consent? Because the head doctor did not ask if I was okay with it. And I was like, whoa, hang on a second. I don't want to see, I'm sure they did not want to see my cervix, and I certainly did not want to see them in class on Monday. But they weren't at my university, but I still found it really strange that I wasn't asked permission. I was just kind of told, these students are gonna check you out, as it were.
That's
weird. That was weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't had many pap smears in my life, so I don't know. I've actually never, just in a hospital procedure, had students in. As far as I know, when I was a kid, I had a lot of surgeries with my stomach. So to me, all adults were doctors in my mind. I was like, oh, you're all doctors to me. I don't know. I'm trying to boost self-esteem at that point, egos. I'm just like, hey, you all are doctors. There's some student like, well, thanks. I'm not. I'm about to drop out. But thanks. But yeah, I don't know. I would imagine that here, there would be some sort of consent signed or permission slip signed or anything, because especially for that, I just feel like that's a little
intimate.
Like why? Hey man, like, and then you see one of them on the street one day, and they're like, I know you way better than anybody else in this room. Like, that's just, I don't know. Awkward.
Yeah, over here they tell you stuff rather than ask for your consent. And there was one occasion where I had an appointment, and I said I don't want that girl in my appointment. I don't give my consent. Not that they asked for my consent, but I said I don't want her in my appointment, and she kicked off. And I was like,
wow.
So we had an argument in Spanish, and I was like, I just said to her, this is my appointment, not yours. She didn't like that.
Well, it doesn't matter if she does or doesn't.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I had a similar thing at work happen a few months back where I just didn't like working with this particular person. They called they called me and asked me, about when I covered their property, and it was like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this. It was like, and I told him, like, look, man, when people are covering my spot, I don't leave a laundry list of tasks for them to do. You're like, when you come over to my property and cover, you just make sure that, the building doesn't burn down. And that's pretty much it. I don't leave you with a bunch of so we got into a small argument. Like, when I say small argument, I hung up on her. And they haven't put me at her location since, and good, because fuck her.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, people, you have to make sure people are okay with, what's going on. You can't just assume or just throw people into the fires. Like, make sure they're okay. Like, hey, so we're going to have some students come in and, observe while we're, doing your physical therapy. Okay, that's cool. Hey, we're going to have some students come in while we, give you a prostate exam. No, thanks. Because I don't know how I'm going to react with a finger in my butt, and I don't need them judging me like he's enjoying that too much, or oh, he didn't like that at all. Like, they just see the way he tensed up. There's just some things we shouldn't have observations for. And also, and now that I'm on that topic, I didn't mean to take this down a bizarre path, but all the technology that we have, all this wonderful stuff that we can do, we can't figure out another way to check the prostate besides putting a finger up the butt. Like, come on, dude. I don't know. My grandfather told me once about having a camera, like a little mini camera, put up his pee hole. I'm just like, dude, I'm not looking forward to getting old. This shit is terrifying, because they're like doing things that are weird. I'm like, dude, I just want to be told, like, hey man, you need more fiber in your diet, simple stuff, not hey, you put their finger there and it's like, that feels weird. Like, you're fucking telling me your finger's in my butt. It should be weird. So I'm not editing any of that out.
Oh dear.
But good. You'll should be back onto the mats in June. See how I segue right back to that. Because I know that's been tough. It's been tough. Like, as a friend, just knowing how badly you want to be on the mats, and it's like, I know, and I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I hope she can get back tomorrow. Nope, not tomorrow. Okay, maybe the day after. Nope. Okay, maybe next week. All right. So, but June is right around the corner. So good. So with competing, because before we started recording, or maybe while we're recording. I don't know. We've been talking. You listed off quite a few locations. I'm not familiar with the landscape of Europe, so what's the travel like to a lot of the competitions for IBJJF? Like, is it like super like long travel times, or is it comfortable?
Not at all. That's why when people come over from the US to do the Europeans in Lisbon, they often stay and do a tour of Europe because the countries are pretty close together. So to Lisbon, it's about 2 hours on the plane. Some people actually go by coach to Lisbon for the Europeans, which is obviously a lot longer. The Netherlands, the Netherlands to Zurich, the travel time isn't too long at all. We're talking a couple of hours. I think absolute maximum is about 3, if I'm not mistaken. And I've got friends in those locations, so it's easy to stay with somebody, which saves on like hotel costs, because the IBJJF comps themselves are pretty expensive. But I do like the IBJJF. Not many people do, but I like them. I think they're quite well run. But yeah, I'm not going to do as many local competitions because as you know, I co-run the clubs. And for me to coach and compete on the same day, I find quite draining because I coach in Spanish. My native language is obviously English. And like motivating the team and being there for them and coaching them is actually really tiring. And I did that once. I coached about five of our team, and then I had to step up myself to fight. And I was so exhausted from screaming instructions that when it was my time to fight, I was exhausted. So I still won that. I still won, but it's not something I really want to do again. Sure. So I'm going for more prestigious competitions and ones where I get to travel and see a bit more of the world when COVID decides to leave us and we can actually travel.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's excuse me. That's one of the things kind of just thinking about our competitions here with our local competitions more so. Some of the organizations, our coaches aren't fond of, so they, don't tend to take the team out to them. Like IBJJF is the main one. NAGA, which is I think the North American Grappling
Association.
I know words, girl. Relax. Like I'm coming off a concussion. Like, chill. I can't think.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Sorry.
No, I'm fine. I think like I'm as fine as I can be. I think. And then Grappling Industries is another big one over here that we go to. And I'm trying to think. Like, there's so many other smaller competitions, but our team, like our coach was like, "Nah, I want to go there. Like, we don't like the way that it's run or something like that." And that's fine. I guess I get it. I'm not, a hater of IBJJF personally. I don't like that I can't compete without, like, for males, you can't wear anything under your gi, and because of my stomach, I just don't feel comfortable grappling, with my stomach exposed, and then I get a neoprene brace, and I don't really feel comfortable with that either. As a matter of fact, today while training, my shirt rolled up and a neoprene brace rolled up too. So now my stomach is exposed, and it's, I'm open about I'm wearing a bag and everything on my stomach, but it's still not everybody at that gym knows about it.
Yeah.
But also, just because I'm open doesn't necessarily mean, I want everyone looking at it, at this moment or that moment. So I don't know, but outside of that, I think IBJJF is fine. I know people have issues with some of the rules as far as reaping and heel hooks and toe holds and stuff like that. Honestly, I think a lot of people just want something to complain about, so that's why everybody gives IBJJF a lot of shit. Personally,
the thing is, though, they are expensive. That's the one bugbear I do have. They are very expensive.
Well, I think, at least, a lot of our local tournaments here, they're all running around a similar price, within $20 of each other. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I know for myself, I'm like primarily gi. So in my mind, it's just like I would pay, whatever it is to do gi, and they're like, well, you're paying so much, you get gi and no gi, and I'm like, I'll be all right. Like, because like I was explaining to my wife the other day, and my coach last week, with the gi, I can tie the belt kind of in a good spot on my stomach to kind of semi-protect it with no gi. And then also just the gi, there's a lot of padding around my stomach to protect me. Where no gi, there's nothing. So if you go to put your hands, on my waist or on my stomach or anything to push away, that's, all your hand pushing on the stoma on my stomach, and it's not comfortable. And it's not an all the time thing. So, because I do train no gi, but it's just, when you're going with somebody who is a stranger and, they're out to win, they're not worried about your stomach, and they shouldn't be, because honestly, I know what I'm getting into. I signed a waiver. So it's not their responsibility, but yeah, the cost, it is, they're not cheap for sure. So that is definitely something that plays in my mind when I don't compete. They're like, hey, competition's coming up, who's all, trying to go. They ask me, I'm like, I already don't want to do it anyway, but then it's like, there are times when I'm like, I think I do want to do it. And then I think about, well, I don't really have $120 just to put down just so I could go out there and get my ass kicked. It's like, I'm already paying, X amount of dollars to get the shit kicked out of me 2-3 times a week. Now I'm going to go do it in front of a crowd. and I got to, like, a plane ride home that I got to think about my, like what could I have done differently and what can I do better next time? It's like, so that's just me though. I'm a sourpuss sometimes about that. So, but either way, that's neither here nor there. So
I'm definitely going to compete, but it's just going to be when I'm 100% recovered, because I can't face more time out. Because I was like I said, I was still training injured, but I was just being really, really careful. I didn't do anything silly. I picked my partners very carefully. There were certain techniques I wouldn't do because it would have made things worse. So I wasn't daft with it. I was very, very careful and very mindful of my injury. But you obviously, when you compete, the other person doesn't care if you've had an injury. So I'm definitely going to compete, but it's got to be when I'm 100%.
Well, absolutely. And I remember when you were training before the surgery, you would kind of, discuss that you were being careful, you were being safe.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I would train injured. It's just because that, I know my body. But then when I hear friends are training injured, it's like, ugh, be careful, man. But same deal, though. You know your body. You know what you're doing. So if you were like a brand new white belt, just started training, got hurt, and like, I'm going to keep training, it's like, I don't know about that, man. You might want to chill. But it also depends, too, because if you're like a brand new white belt just starting, but you've wrestled before, or you've done judo, or you're just an athlete, period. You kind of know your body, and you know what you can and can't do. So there's that. And when they were saying, they said you were an elite athlete, the doctor said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They were not my words. I would like to
no,
emphasize they were not my words. That
no,
was
no.
the words of my physio.
I wasn't saying that kind of in a mocking way either. I was trying to remember the word, and it was like elite athlete, which is cool. I mean, not because you compete, so you're not like, because there are guys that are like, well, I'm an athlete, and it's like, but are you like, what I play, like, I call myself an athlete. I play, multiple sports and things like that, but I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm, an athlete, like an elite athlete at that. Whereas if you're competing in something, there's preparation and care that you take for your body. So that puts you in that category, I think, versus me where, hey, I do jujitsu and I might, maintain my diet a certain way and I might, kind of keep my weight at a certain spot. But at the end of the day, it's just for personal, I'm doing this, whereas you're doing it for personal, but also for competition as you're growing and you're getting better. So you're also improving your body. So yeah, you're an elite athlete. Like,
Well, I would say
don't be so modest.
that is debatable. That is debatable, but I think it's because, as I said, my physio didn't know what jiu-jitsu was, Brazilian jiu-jitsu was. He looked it up, and because I do compete a lot, and I train a lot, he said you need physio every day.
No, I
So
mean,
I'm not going to complain about that because last year I didn't get it at all.
I mean, again, just given that you compete, it, makes sense what they're saying because they're doctors. I'm not, but, good. I'm glad that you're getting the physio, daily. Well,
when
yeah.
my guy comes back from his
Yes.
COVID quarantine, it'll go back to being daily.
So, but that's good, all the same, because there's nothing worse than inconsistent recovery and rehab. Just, you're not ever going to be able to fully recover properly. So, it's good to hear that. And also just, prior to going into the surgery, you doing a little bit of training, just already being in shape helps you bounce back quicker.
I did work quite a lot on prehab as well, particularly with weights, to keep myself strong, to give myself a better chance of recovering afterwards. But again, I still need to be really careful because with your ACL, you can think that you're okay and not in pain, and before you know it, you've damaged it again. So I just don't want to go down that road.
Those are the things, though, too, with especially the knee. The knee is a weird injury just altogether because they're like, watching American football over here, you'll see someone walking perfectly fine. You think, oh, they're not hurt, they're fine, they're walking fine, but no, they tore their ACL. It like, and the thing is, sometimes you got some guys don't even know they've done it, or they've done something so light that they don't even realize like how it could even happen. So just the proper precautions and proper care, especially for things like a knee or a shoulder even.
No, I didn't actually know I had re-ruptured my ACL. I had no idea. I thought it was my meniscus because, well, it was my meniscus as well, but I was in a lot of pain going up and down the stairs. So that's like classic of meniscus damage. So I was really shocked when I found out it was my ACL again. And I was just like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, it's devastating. Just because any injury is devastating, no matter how minor it is, because that's time away from the mat now.
Yeah.
I have a friend, we work on Sundays together, and they were like, look, they're not feeling too hot. They're just, their leg was hurting. And there's a movie where there's a saying, it's a football movie, American football movie, and the guy gets cracked, he gets hit hard, and he's laying down. Coach comes over and says, "Are you injured or are you hurt?" And the guy goes, "Well, what's the difference?" I was like, "Well, if you're injured, you can't keep playing. If you're hurt, just get back up." So my guy, his leg was hurting. So I urged him to come in. I was like, look, we're going to go super light, but I want you to take notes as well. So we're going to do a lot more talking than movement, but we'll still do some small movement just to keep your body fresh. But specifically, I want you taking notes. I think note taking is important. It's not effective for everyone, but I think, at least for me, going back and reading it doesn't help, but writing it down, because I have to write the movements out.
Same.
So, every little bit counts, even if and it sucks again having to be away from the mat, but there's still, things to be done, fortunately. So that's good. Is Europe open for competitions right now, or is it upcoming?
Well, in Madrid, there have been 2 competitions that have been postponed because we are still we're confined to our areas. So Madrid is massive, but the local competitions take place outside of Madrid, which means that people, if they're stopped by the police because they're going out of their area that's confined, will be sent home. So it's not worth having a competition. So they've been postponed. 2 competitions have been postponed. And no big there are a lot of competitions in the US, but not really in Europe at the moment.
Yeah, over here things are starting to open up.
Some of them never really closed, to be honest.
Well, yeah, some areas are just like, nah, fuck it. Florida, looking at you. It's just like, nah. They're like, COVID, fuck is that? Like, you see a video during like the heat, like the heart of COVID, like people are just out, like just kissing strangers. It's like, guess they are not afraid of COVID. Fear is not a factor for you. Trust me. Meanwhile, where I'm at, it's like people are wearing double mask. Like, honestly, I'm okay with wearing a mask because I don't want people to know who I am. Like I go out, not that people recognize me and like bother me. I just like to be able to go out places and not see anyone. Like, not that I really go out. I go to work. I now go back to jiu-jitsu. I go home. Mm-hmm. I don't go to stores. And it's not because of COVID. I wasn't going to stores anyway. I don't like human interaction. I don't, like stranger interaction, I should say. I don't like going out to the, like Walmarts and Targets and, these department store type deals. Just not my thing. I drove past the mall the other day and I was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder how the mall is being affected by all of this. And I was like, I don't care. Like, because everything in the mall is overpriced anyway, but people still go there. It's weird. Yeah. And then also, like most of the shops in the malls, like, are people really going, unless it's like a big chain like Nike or, whatever. I don't know what is, these chains are. Tommy Hilfiger, is that still a thing? I don't know. I'm not sure. But
within a department store, yeah. I don't know. They were popular when I was about 17. That was a long time ago. Gosh. Yeah. But I think they're within, over here, Tommy Hilfiger is within department stores.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think, because like I haven't been to the mall in so long. I don't even know what's in there. Bath and Body Works. I could buy a bunch of lotion. Actually, I do need to go there because the lotion smells so good. Like, I don't care if it's like women fragrances. They smell so good when I wear them. I had a lady, she made a comment at me once. And like, this was back in like 2007, 2006. She insinuated that I was gay because I was wearing this floral smelling lotion. And I was like, okay, I like the smell of it. And so what if I'm gay? like I could beat everybody in this room. Like, that sucks for y'all, because now you just angered the gay guy. So like, don't do that. Like, I'm not, but there's nothing wrong with it if I were. So, but I just like the smell of those lotions. They smell really, really, really nice. Maybe sometimes overpowering. And when I got in trouble with the law several years back, I had a probation officer and she was allergic to fragrances. So she made it very clear that, when you come in, do not wear anything scented. And I forgot, and I put on my lotion. And I remember sitting there in her office, and the office is like a tiny office, so there's no escaping. And she's coughing, like she was having a hard time. And she goes, "Did you wear like did you put on cologne or something?" I was like, no, ma'am. Might be my deodorant. I don't know." She was like, I'm just gonna ask you to go sit in the hallway." It's like, okay. And then I realized, like, oh shit, I did put on that lotion. So, oh well. She wasn't a very nice person. Like, just like she was having a blast getting people in trouble. So then I got transferred to another probation officer. She was a lot cooler. She may as well have been like my therapist. Like, I wanted to go visit that chick. She was like really, really nice. We always like laughed and had good jokes. So I was like, dude, look, I'm glad that my probation is ending, but I'm sad that I'm not gonna, have to come to like probation meetings like much longer, because like you were really cool, but I don't want to get in trouble no more. So like I'm much older, wiser, and less troublemaker makery. I don't know what the word is. Less of a troublemaker. But either way, that's just another sidetrack. I do have some questions to ask you though. Just because I like to ask questions. I like to make my podcast seem like they're real questions to, real interview style questions. It's not really. It's just more so for funsies in conversation, as we're kind of getting towards the end here of our conversing. So I figured let's go out on a fun note. So if you could bring back any canceled TV series, which series would you bring back?
Cancelled.
And I know over there is a little different than over here, so I'm gonna need some reference, some explanation too, because you might say something wild. I'm like, okay, yeah, good answer. In reality, I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck
but
you just said.
It wasn't cancelled. It just came to like a natural end. A program called Only Fools and Horses, which is considered one of the best British comedies, because it's really, really funny, but without all the swearing. It's so funny. But there are a lot of British and Cockney references. Cockney references are people from East London. They speak in Cockney rhyming slang. So they'll say apples and pears instead of stairs. So it can be quite confusing if you're outside of the UK. But that came to a natural end. But I would bring that back. That was amazing. Only Fools and Horses, it's called. I grew up on it. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I still watch it now, actually. I still watch reruns.
Oh, like it's always nice to have that show that you like so much that even with the reruns, you can still go back and enjoy it. Yeah. I like the show called Lost over here in the US.
We have that in the UK as well.
A lot of people didn't like it. It was like kind of very divisive. Like a lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. I loved it. And it ended the way that it had to end, and that's fine. If they decide to do a reboot or revisit, I'd be in to watch it, because I did enjoy the show. There's a lot of emotion in that last season. I just talked about the other day to somebody, and how much I cried when a Korean couple, met their end. Spoiler alert. Actually, I still kind of get teared up, because it was just so goddamn powerful. It's like, oh my Lord, like, no, not this way. No. I might go back and watch that. I might go through all seasons again, or all 6 seasons again really soon. I started watching it a few months back, and then I just got sidetracked with life. So who knows? Maybe I'll get back to it and cry some more, because that's what I do. You can choose anyone in the world to become friends with. Who do you choose? That's a weird question. Like,
so this is someone I'm not friends with at the moment.
Yeah. I guess let's say, like, because that's weird. Because if you're not friends with them and you don't know them, like, how do you know that you want to be friends with them?
That's the thing, because they have this, particularly on Instagram and in the media, they have this persona, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're like that. I'm going to say Les Brown, the motivational speaker. He's awesome. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I don't think I have.
He's an awesome motivational speaker. And as you know from my Instagram, I love a good motivational quote.
I do
A
too.
lot of people hate, but I don't care.
Every time I put up something motivational, there's some troll that wants to come in and say something to, deflect. And it's like, come on, dude, don't be a dick. I just put up a post of a young lady who does jiu-jitsu. And I want to shout her out, but at the same time, I don't, because people are such dicks. But every time I put a post about her and she's doing jiu-jitsu, and it's usually only with her posts, someone always says, well, if you're doing it that way, you're going to get hit. Or if you're doing it that way, you're going to have, it's not going to work. And it's like, and I always want to reply with, like, the way that you're kind of acting with this, though, it makes me think that you want to go out and hit women. Like, because it's mostly guys who are always commenting as to how.
By any chance a very blonde girl with tattoos?
Yes.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's always frustrating, because it's like, I enjoy her post.
Yeah, I follow her as well. I follow her.
And she's a nice young lady.
Yeah.
As far as I know. But every time
her techniques are good. That's why I follow her.
Yeah, that's why I reposted. It's like, okay. But there's always some jerk that comes in and makes a snotty comment. And it's like, dude, like, you make me think that you probably hit women, and that's not okay. So fuck off. And a lot of times I'll go and like check back and look at their account. It's like, okay, so you have a private account, you have one follower or one post. There's always like, it's always like one, then like a double-digit number, and then they follow a bunch of accounts. And it's like, okay, you're a troll. You're probably someone that I know. You're probably someone that's listening. I see you, motherfuckers. I'll edit that out too. I have to really get my curse words under control. Like once I start getting emotional, it's like, nah, we're saying all the bad words. If you were a food, what food would you be?
Sweet potato or passion fruit. Passion fruit. Yeah.
Didn't even hesitate.
No.
Just like, I feel like you've been thinking about that one, like you're prepared for that answer.
Definitely passion fruit, but I love sweet potato as well. So
I'm trying to grow more fond of sweet potatoes as just
they're amazing. They're amazing.
As an alternative option. Like, and they're delicious. I just don't ever think about them. Like, it's just, oh well, yeah, here we got. What weird thing would you make socially acceptable if you could?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I like that one because I've got answers.
What weird thing would I make socially acceptable? Oh, that's such a good question. Thing is, with me, I kind of don't really kind of follow social norms in a sense.
Yeah.
If I want to know something, I'll just ask. If they think I'm strange, let them think I'm strange. I don't think it's weird, but when you ask someone how they are or how they're doing or about their mental health, a lot of people don't want to answer. It's not seen as like, oh, we've got to put on this. It's seen as like we've got to put on this front, even though we're not okay. So I would make that more socially acceptable. It should be socially acceptable, but the fact is it's not, sadly.
That's true. And I agree that's something that I just spoke with Raj from Open Talk on Instagram, and that was something he and I were discussing when I did the Human Library. My book title was Fighting Depression by Fighting. And I had a few people come in and we discussed, it's a really tough topic because people are made to, pretend like everything's okay when everything's not okay. They're like, over the last, I'm very open to you, whenever we're talking back and forth, it's like, hey, what's going on? But I've had, the last couple, I want to say weeks, where it's been like a real roller coaster for me. And I'm open about it. I'm willing to let people know, like, look, man, I'm not okay. You know, it's just, I think part of me saying that though is I can be kind of a jerk when I'm not okay. So I want people to understand I'm not doing this at you. It's just I'm not in a good place right now.
Yeah.
And I just need, a little bit of breathing room. I think I called my friend a bastard the other day, and I wasn't really thinking. I was just like, "Oh, you're a fucking bastard." I was like, and then I yelled at one of our team leads at work. He called me, and I answered the phone because I knew it was him. So I knew it wasn't like I gotta talk to a tenant. And he was like, "Dude, you just sound absolutely thrilled. Why do you sound so depressed?" I was like, "Dude, I'm coming off a fucking concussion. My head hurts right now. These bright lights are fucking with me." And I left out the fact that I don't like him. But,
Good plan.
but I was like steering in that direction. I was like, and, he was cool after that. And I told my manager the other day, I was like, I should text him and apologize. And I was like, fuck him. Like, we're not doing that. But yeah, I think we should be more open and just be allowed to say that we're not okay instead of, if we're not okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a bit tired. A bit tired. That's what people say. Yeah.
Exactly. Whenever anyone says anything like, nah, I'm all right. I'm just, tired. Didn't sleep well last night. But in reality, I'm fucking spiraling out of control. I'm going to go home and drink a box of wine and probably curl up in a corner and listen to old Sade records and cry. But I like Sade. So what can I say? Would you rather never use toilet paper again or wear wrinkled clothes forever? That's really weird. Like that's a very
wear wrinkled clothes forever. Definitely.
I don't. It's weird. Like, why would that even be a comparable option? Like, yeah, I'm gonna use toilet. Well, I don't have to because of my stomach. But if I had to use toilet paper, I'm never gonna not choose to not use toilet paper. That's goofy. That's a dumb question.
To be honest, I don't really iron my clothes anyway.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I wear sweatpants and sweatshirts all the time, and they're heavier, so they never really get wrinkled. So I don't ever have that issue.
Yeah.
And I think I'm also in that mindset of like, okay, if I'm wearing wrinkled clothes and you got a problem with it, fuck you. Fight me. It's like, I'm not worried about what my clothes look like. I'm not impressing anybody, like I don't need to impress nobody because I'm fucking charismatic. That's impressive enough. Fuck them. Would you rather have lobster claws or hedge clippers for hands? That's
lobster
weird.
claws or hedge clippers.
Like Edward Scissorhands.
Strange ass questions. Hedge clippers, more intimidating.
I don't know because either one's a detriment.
Lobster would smell, wouldn't it?
Maybe wash your hands more. I don't know. It's COVID season. like wash your hands and use soap this time. I don't know. So, like hedge clippers, I'm just worried because if I go to pick my nose or something, that's a rough time. like a really rough time. And just I don't know. Like, and if you got a wipe, like okay, there you go. Would you rather never wear shorts or socks again?
I'd rather never wear socks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Madrid gets hot, really hot. You need to wear shorts in Madrid.
I don't know when was the last time I wore shorts. Oh, it was a year ago because I didn't know the schedule. The schedule at jiu-jitsu changed. So I was already there and I was like, well, shit, I'll just do Muay Thai. And I didn't have gear with me. So they gave me some shorts. And let me just say, somebody's been skipping leg day a lot. Like my legs were all like Jay-Z, like skinny and like ashy. I was like, and I can't I can't be like, fuck y'all, I'll beat you up because I'm going to Muay Thai. They will all kill me. So like I just had to take the jokes. I was just like, all right, well, fuck it. Like whatever. Like you guys are just gonna pick on me. I can't do anything against you because you can beat me up. Do you believe in aliens?
No. Well, I answered that too prematurely. I've never seen an alien, But just because I haven't seen it, it doesn't mean they don't exist. So I'm on the fence about that one. I'm open-minded.
Good.
I've never seen one, but that doesn't mean they're not out there.
Good answer. Good answer. Would you purchase a home that is confirmed to be haunted?
Oh. Confirmed by whom exactly?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The Ghostbusters. I don't know. I'm not sure. Demonologist.
Probably not.
So I'm weird about that with ghosts though, because it's like it's not that I don't believe them. It's just I haven't seen one. That's a quote from John Cusack in that movie 1408. I always say that quote a lot whenever we're talking about ghosts. It's like it's not that I don't believe in them. It's just I haven't seen one. So
yeah, that's how I feel about aliens. Just because I haven't seen them, it doesn't mean they don't exist.
That's a weird question. I'm not asking that one. What do you think ghosts do when they're, when they're not interacting with the living? I think they probably like do ghost activities, like go to Home Depot and buy like garden supplies and shit. I feel like ghosts have like chores.
What do ghosts do when they're not interacting with the living? I think they just probably stay in buildings, like hooting around and making, I don't know, ghost noises.
just being like ghosts, just doing ghostly shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a Ouija board before?
Never, and I won't. Never.
One of my tenants at work, when ever we have to open their unit for auction, they have the so it's weird that that's a game, Ouija. Like it's a game that we sell here for kids to buy, and it's very, very bizarre. But that's I guess you got to be 21 to buy alcohol, but you can be 8 years old to conjure up spirits. It's cool. But every time we open the unit, that goddamn game is staring right at us. And I told my manager, I was like, if we open this one day and that fucking game is moved, I'm out on the spot. I'm just gonna leave, and they can, they can ask why, and I can tell them because. So we're gonna wrap up there because quite honestly, I could go on all day with these goofy questions, and I don't think anyone wants that. And also, I gotta go coach these kids, teach them how to beat me up. So Teanna, thank you as usual for being my guest on here. Definitely appreciate you coming on and just goofing off and being silly with me.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And as usual, I always want to ask, do you have anything you want to shout out or promote?
Yeah, shout out to Chris at XS Guard Mouthguards for all his support, and also to Hyperfly Europe for their support.
Absolutely. I'm going to put their links in the notes so people can find them. And also, everyone out there, thank you for listening. I don't know why I'm pausing so much. Thanks for listening. I do really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And as always, you can find Teanna on Instagram. That's where I found her. That's where she found me. So I think you guys can find her there as well. What's your I see your name every day, but for some reason, is it Teanna _Taylor or is it
Taylor _BJJ?
A lot of underscores in there.
Yeah, a lot of underscores. Yeah.
So those will be in the notes as well. So you all can follow Miss Teanna on Instagram as well. She has quite an interesting Instagram page with inspirational stories and posts. So go ahead, give a follow. You won't be sorry. Also, make sure you're following BJJ Mama on Instagram. And if you go to Flex Pro Meals and use her promo code BJJ Mama 20, you'll save yourself 20% on some good eats. I have one more meal left. I got to go upstairs and heat it up and eat it because I'm hungry. It's chicken. It's a lemon chicken. So
that sounds good.
It's about to be Awesome. I got to order some more. And I also got some merchandise. Y'all go check it out. I'll put the link. I don't know what the link is off top. So if you're listening, just go check the notes. It's in the notes. I got t-shirts, I got mugs, I think I got hoodies now. And they're tights, but not really. They're available, but I actually just got them in multiple colors now. I'm so excited. But I'm gonna buy a pair for myself because I want a pair of tights that says BJJ Wiki up the leg. Like I'm gonna get a purple pair, like Prince. But otherwise, that's it. Thanks everyone for listening. Greatly appreciate you. If you have any questions, concerns, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm a friendly guy, I think. And if you ever want to be a guest on the show, just say, hey, Dante, I want to be a guest on your show. Let's talk about some goofy stuff. We can do that. I like talking about goofy stuff. As you can hear at this episode, just ask a bunch of goofy questions. And, if you're into goofy stuff, cool. If you're not, don't listen to episode 50. Episode 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. That shit's about to go off the rails because there was a 5-hour podcast and it's about to be broken up into 5 1-hour episodes. So that's why I was letting you all know that this is episode 49. So next week, be ready. It's about to get weird. Otherwise, thank you all. Y'all keep listening and I will keep recording these. Bye.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.